Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're taking a look at another Kingdom Transformer. We got another classic from the Generation 1 era. Probably the most beautiful Transformer that ever existed, in his opinion, Trax. Now, of course, as we said, Trax was from the original era, so we'll get out the original toy here for everybody to look at. Of course, mine stands a little wobbly there due to the fact that for some reason the legs aren't normally straight on him. Let's adjust the one. That's better. That does look better. The original Trax toy came out in 1985. And he was one of two figures that year that had a unique mold to him. The other one, of course, was Skids. They were the only two Autobot cars released that year that was not a shared mold with a previous toy. So that did generate a lot of excitement around Trax. But of course it also helped that Trax was in some ways a minor triple changer due to the fact that the car could be altered slightly to have a flying car mode. It's a shame that General Motors has not yet figured out how to make a Corvette fly. But maybe that's down the road or something. At any rate, we'll set him aside and we'll take a look at the new version of Trax. Now, of course, some of our viewers may also know that there was a red version of Trax, as the 1985 mural depicted Trax as being a red car. The red version of Trax was a European exclusive release under Milton Bradley's name, and has since, in the modern lore, been redeveloped into a new character called Road Rage. I have seen on the Transformers Wikia that we will be getting a toy of Road Rage, and she will be a redeco of Trax. She will also be a Target exclusive, so keep an eye on those Target stores, folks. At any rate, let's take a look at Trax's accessories. We'll start with his gun. This is his black beam gun, which doesn't look anything like his Generation 1 weapon. It kind of looks more science fiction-y. But I guess that kind of goes well with the second version of Trax from the Generation 1 era. Many of you who have been with this channel a long time may be aware that I did review an Action Master version of Trax that was released in Europe. Somewhere up there in the corner, you'll eventually see a link to see that video, so for those of you who haven't seen that, please keep an eye out for that. And then lastly, we also have this rack of missiles, which, as you can tell, is substantially smaller than the unit that was on the Generation 1 toy. But in many ways, this is a little bit better than the Generation 1 toy, as that one broke down into a lot of pieces, and certain parts of that missile launcher assembly have gotten quite difficult to find in modern times. So, simplifying this was definitely a must. And of course, the reason there's a hole in the top is because you can combine the two weapons together, and it's mainly for use in the alt modes. Or you can just have him hold both of them together and stand up straight here and oh, now that looks kind of silly, doesn't it? Alright, let's take a look at Trax's articulation. We can, with some difficulty, turn his head from side to side. It unfortunately it does move up and down, so it is on a small ball joint. It's just rather difficult to turn, especially with adult fingers, due to the car kibble getting in the way. His arms can be raised up about so far, and the arms do rotate at the shoulder all the way. Just have to be careful with the car kibble. His arms can be bent at the elbow, 90 degrees. And he does have a swivel at the bicep. So he has his own version of G.I. Joe's battle grip. Trax can be twisted at the hip. Just got to lean the car kibble back a bit so that it doesn't scrape against it. His legs can be pulled apart into a full splits. You can raise his leg at the hip just under 90 degrees. And you can bend him at the knee 90 degrees. Well, if you hold the side piece steady, you can also adjust his ankle. So all in all, Trax does have quite a bit of articulation. Now, transforming Trax here is a bit on the complicated side, so do bear with me on him. The first thing we do is we take his hands and we're going to fold them up into his arms. And now we come here to his backside. We're going to raise up the car kibble like so that it goes all the way out and above him. And inside the car kibble is the front windshield. We will need to fold that out. Now, brand new, this will be pretty stiff, but the plastic is on the soft side, so it will give a little bit. Don't put too much pressure on it or you might break it, but it will give if you bend it very slightly. Now, once that's, of course, all in, we can adjust his chest panel a little bit so it separates freely. And then we rotate his hips like so. And then now we can lay him down, face down, because we have to open up these panels on the back of his legs. There we go. They are a little on the stiff side. The sides of his legs, where the wheels are, can independently rotate. So you want to rotate them so that it puts his feet in the air. Just that section. So that you've got them at an angle like that. Then you're going to slide the leg pieces inwards so that it gets his thighs inside his legs. Shift them in as far as they will go. And of course, once you've done that, you can bring down the side pieces. And the feet. Now, the feet should go where the chest area is. So it does take a little bit of maneuvering, and you will get them up there. And of course, once that's done, you can close the panel on the leg. They just don't give you a whole lot of room to do this. But once you've got them all connected like that, you can then press the legs together to form the hood of the car. Of course, we'll turn him right side up, and you can see how that's going. Alright, now once we've done that, we're going to take this piece here, the top part of the car, and you will then rotate it around like so. Because then we are going to fold it up and over. And this is where it gets complicated, because it's supposed to fold up and over and cover the body. I think we need to extend a piece here. Give me just a moment, folks, while I fight with it. Okay, yes, we had to stretch the leg section out underneath the car. And then that allowed this top piece to fold over. It snaps into place right here amongst the hood of the car. There's also a couple of pieces here on the underside where it connects to the sides of the car as well. So do be cautious of that. But then now, once you've done that, we're going to come here to his arms. You straighten the wings out like so. And then we're going to rotate the arms so that this blue portion is sticking out to the side. I think the blue portion should actually be facing us. Then you move the arms up to cover the wings. You'll fold them down at the tires. Then you fold the arm and the wing up to form the sides of the car. And then there you have it. Trax becomes a non-licensed sports car, even though his Generation 1 original was based on the Chevy Corvette. And of course, this one we can also attach the weapons to, and that gives you an attack car mode. And of course, how well does this new Trax roll? Rolls pretty good. Alright, one last thing before we close. Trax does have the flying car mode. To do that, we got to remove the weapons. We're going to reverse the past few steps, because we got to get the arms back and wings back out. So, we just separate the arms from the side of the car, bend them down, and fold out the tire. And then we're going to take the arms, and you'll fold the arms up so that they'll be along the side of the car. They seem to want us to go ahead and rotate them so that they're like that for design purposes. Kind of sweep the wings more towards the back. Then, of course, we have back here in the back some tail fins to fold up. Now, I will warn you, these tail fins are on a loose hinge, and it does not take much effort, as you can see, to pop them free. So, do be careful with that. And after that, after you've got the wings all out, reattach the weapons, and Trax is ready to fly. And then, of course, Here's the Generation 1 version for comparison. Of course, the G1 version is lifted up in the air a bit because we plugged the gun in, actually, to the underside of the car. Which, yeah, it looks kind of silly, but that's how they designed it, folks. They didn't think to put a hole in the missile launcher to attach the gun. Now, of course, we get down to our final thoughts. What do I think of this version of Trax? Well, this version of Trax is a little bit on the complex side to change. I think they could have done a slightly better job with how he transformed, but that's a minor gripe in the long run, really. Some are more difficult than others, and of course some people handle them differently as well. So, my having a problem with changing this figure around, that's an opinion. Somebody else out there may not have that trouble. And more power to you. The only real gripes that I have with the figure that are a true gripe is, like I said, with the tail fins. I think those pop free a little too easily, and they're going to get lost very easily. Or they could inadvertently get swallowed by a young child. So I think Hasbro and Takara should have come up with a better way to do that. I'm not necessarily sure how they could have done it, but I think they could have come up with a better way to have them come out. Because it takes very little effort to pop them free, and that's going to get a child hurt. I pray that it doesn't, but you never know. It is always a possibility. As for the toy itself, it's not bad, really. The transformation method, as I said earlier, is a little complex, but it does turn into a rather nice version of this classic character. I mean, let's face it, we even get the flame job on the hood. Granted, it's not quite as elaborate as the originals, but it is a nice touch, and it definitely confirms to the G1 fans that this definitely is Trax. And that concludes my review of the Kingdom version of Trax. I don't know why I'm thinking the G1 version. But anyway, my viewers, make sure you also like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We appreciate all the feedback that we can get, and we thank you all for your support. As we close out on our video, do remember, Trax thought he was always beautiful, and that he couldn't see the beauty in others. We as humans should be able to see the beauty in others, if not the outer beauty, the inner beauty that is the far more important to see in people. So, look out for all the beautiful people out there. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.